Why do some homes sell immediately with multiple offers and others sit on the market for months at a time? Well, here in the greater Boston area, we still have countless buyers out there looking for homes, especially in the suburbs, and they're just being a little bit more discerning with homes that they're ready to offer on. Now, we're still seeing homes that are priced under $1 million that are well positioned, moving very quickly. But sometimes we have homes that are even marketed really well that are sitting on the market with no obvious explanation. And it has buyers and sellers both being like, what is actually going on with this home? Why isn't it moving when the one right down the road for the same price went in the first week? Now, most buyers know within the first minute or so of walking into a home whether or not it's going to be a home that they are excited about. So everything in this video is basically about creating that emotional reaction to the home and making that buyer fall in love, wanting to write an offer and get through the transaction process smoothly. My first recommendation would be to hire an agent that is going to be brutally honest with you. I can't tell you how many times I talk to seller clients or potential seller clients that tell me that their overarching goals basically include to sell the home for the most amount of money, to avoid any major renegotiations, and to get through the transaction process smoothly. Totally reasonable goals for a seller to have, and many sellers have those goals. But then they'll proceed to lay out 10 or 12 other things that they feel they want to have control over during the course of the marketing and transaction process that I know from experience are going to directly conflict with their ability to get to those initial goals. So just avoid hiring a yes man that's going to give you absolutely everything that you ask for them, or at least say that they're going to deliver on those things. You want to hire someone that's going to tell you when a decision that you make is going to negatively impact your initial goal of selling the home for the most money, getting through the transaction process smoothly, so that you're not taken off guard by when these things actually do happen and negatively impact the transaction. All right, let's get into a few more things that many of you are not going to want to hear about and talk about accessibility. Now, this is a big one. And we get it. This is your home. You have a life to live. You have a schedule to keep, family, pets. Many of you have important work from home jobs that you're obligated to. And that is great. And if you want to, if your ultimate goal is to minimize the amount of interruption in your weekday, that's totally fine. You can restrict the showings to 1 10-minute window a week for the duration the property's online if you want. But please stop telling your real estate agent that your goal is to maximize the purchase price for your home, and then the second you get a showing request, say, no, I can't. I got XYZ BS appointment to keep that day. I can't do it. Can they schedule a time for a few days from now or next week or whenever? So if your goal is to sell the home for top dollar, stop restricting access to your home. It's not helping you. You are shooting yourself in the foot. And don't forget that these time frames have to work not just for you and your family, but the buyer, the buyer's family, the buyer's agent, and the listing agent. So there are a lot of parties that have to be aligned to get into the property for this 15-minute window to make it so that you are inevitably going to get a strong offer for the home. So be flexible, let these people into the property. If privacy or discretion or your schedule is a priority, then great, you can restrict showing times. But stop telling your agent that you're in it for the top dollar for your home and then restricting access. It's shooting yourself in the foot. Now let's quickly touch on positioning. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but one thing I see people doing is just cherry picking the positive aspects of their home and pretending that buyers out there don't have access or visibility into all of the other homes in the area that have sold. They have access to every piece of data under the sun. They know what homes are selling for, and they know what yours is worth compared to those other homes. So let's stop pretending that they can't see these things, because that's all the serious buyers are actually looking at. So that said, price your home accordingly with the market. If you want it to sell for top dollar, create competition, stop pricing it 10% above the market and leaving room to negotiate, because buyers aren't even looking at your home if you're pricing it that high. So all you're doing by pricing the property higher than it should realistically trade for is donating all of your leverage the second you go on the market. Now let's get into private tours, open houses, and the overall showing experience. Now, I recently was at a listing appointment and the seller had hired an agent last year, and she basically said, he didn't have control over the open house. The way she actually put it was, I drove by while the open house was going on and there were buyers everywhere, and she's complaining because all of these buyers showed up to the open house. And I'm like, oh my God, buyers showed up to a home that you're looking for a bunch of buyers for? Sounds like absolute torture. So really, she was just concerned that the listing agent didn't feel in control. He wasn't hand-holding and walking everyone room to room, one group at a time, and having complete control over the showing experience of the home. Now, I will handle a showing or a private tour, however, or even an open house, however the seller wants me to handle it. But if they're first telling me that they want to maximize the marketing exposure for this home, like this lady put me through it with my marketing strategy, which luckily is all there. I have it pretty dialed in at this point. But the amount, I spent 4 hours with her the other day. She was asking me to, create all of this activity, maximize her home's exposure, get as many people through the property as possible. And then basically in the same breath telling me that getting 100 groups through the open house the first weekend was a bad thing. I'm going to say, look, okay, the fact that you want to have more control over the open house is going to directly impact your ability to generate competition for this listing. And I'm going to let them make the ultimate call, but you can't have it both ways. One of them is going to shoot you in the foot. If you want the listing agent to hold everyone's hand and breathe down their necks in every room as they tour the property, that's totally fine. You can do that. But I'm going to tell you, hey, by the way, when I'm standing there and walking the buyers through your listing, it's a horrendous experience for them. They don't want a listing agent breathing down their neck and making them feel pressured to buy something that they're just trying to envision their lives in the property. So if I see, again, these sellers or clients making a decision that's ultimately going to impact their initial goals, I'm going to tell them and then I'll let them make the call. But make sure you're not blowing up the showing experience for these buyers if your goal is actually to get top dollar for the home. Next up is decluttering, and this could be its own video series, but really before the photography is done, before you get anyone in there for a tour, your property has got to be decluttered and deep cleaned. And within reason, through the showing process until you go under agreement, it should stay reasonably clean. People understand that you're likely living there. You have to still, cook dinner and get the kids ready to go to school, that sort of stuff. So they understand that it's not going to be like new construction. Nobody's ever lived there before. But you guys are moving. Like, there's no reason to delay packing like 30% of the stuff in your home. So start decluttering, start packing stuff away, start throwing stuff away, put other things into storage or tuck it away in the basement, neatly organized into boxes so it's ready to move to the next property. Just get it out of the main living spaces and somewhere else. A few of the things to start decluttering are as many surfaces as you can possibly clean. Get the personal items off of there, any like seasonal decor stuff, family photos, collectibles, trinkets, tchotchkes, all of this stuff can go to storage. The refrigerator should be completely clear, both on top and on the front surface. Get rid of the photos on there, the kids' artwork, put it all away, put it in storage. Every time I go to a photo shoot, honestly, I see one of these flip calendars with like a nice picture of whatever season it is on one side and then the calendar for the month on the other. The amount these things cheapen the feel of the home's interior is like, I don't understand why these things are still being used and sold. But, beyond that, anytime there's like a surface in the area that's like an additional surface that was just brought in to put more shit on. Like every boomer has one of these TV tray tables that folds open, and for some reason they've become like permanent fixtures, and there's like a random printer and a landline phone on there. Get rid of all this stuff. You don't need it. Pare down the amount of extra furniture in these rooms. Bedroom should be a bed and 2 nightstands and 2 lamps. It should be very, very minimal. I could go on all day with this stuff, but just keep it in mind. You need the buyers to be able to visualize the space, remove all of your personal stuff. They want to be able to visualize their own family living in the house. So you could go pretty crazy here. If there's a question mark and you're like, should I put this away? Put it away. Like, get it in storage, throw it out, do whatever, just get it out of the main living space. Now let's get into lighting really quickly, and with a few exceptions, I don't think there is much that actually dates a space faster than an old light fixture that hasn't been brought up to date with the rest of the upgrades that have been made in the immediate space. Obviously, make sure you're not tossing out a beautiful old Victorian chandelier that goes with the existing charm and character of the home. But beyond that, let's bring these light fixtures up to date a little bit and stop acting like people are going to ignore them just because you haven't looked at or dusted the thing in 20 years. Beyond that, make sure the bulbs all match. I'm sick of looking at these fixtures that have 9 different shades of blue and yellow in them. And make sure they are all functioning. Like, nothing says that we are not even trying here more loudly than not swapping out a burnt out light bulb. Like, this is the least you can do. If you're not doing that for your home, what else are you avoiding doing? There are a lot more complicated projects, a lot more deferred maintenance projects that are a lot more difficult than swapping out a light bulb. And that's the first thing buyers are going to think as they walk through your property and see all of these lights that haven't been replaced. One more thing on lighting, stop buying these pure white lights for every single room in the house. Yes, you want hues and tones to match, but everyone likes a little bit of a warm tone in their lights. They don't have to be Halloween orange, but you're not selling a football stadium. You are not selling an operating room. No one's gonna be doing open heart surgery in the family room. People like to have a little bit of a warm hue, especially if people are requesting tours in the evening and all the lights are going on. They don't wanna be blinded by football stadium lighting at 1,000 watts each. So, couple things to keep in mind with lighting there. It's going to improve, the emotion that people are feeling when they're walking through your home. Now let's get into the smell, the scent, the fragrance. It's very easy to go too far with this, guys, to the point where buyers are actually immediately turned off because they feel the seller is actually trying to cover something up or conceal an odor in the home. So keep it simple. Don't go too crazy. Stay away from like the tropical fruit bubblicious Yankee Candle scents, the Glade plugins that are cranked all the way up to the highest level. Do not run laps around the homes with, Febreze bottles and Glade spray bottles before private tours are coming through the property. Keep it simple, crack the windows, get a couple diffusers, put one in each room, and just let the home air out regularly. I'll tell a quick story. I had a client who, I thought was trying to get the highest and best offers for their home. At least that's what they told us initially before we put it on the market. And then I proceed to let the sellers know that, hey, we got some feedback from the buyers. They don't love the cigarette smell. It's one of the reasons that, they chose not to move forward with an offer here. This seller client responded very aggressively, took it very personally, saying, I gotta live in this house and I'm gonna keep smoking my cigarettes. And I said, okay, I didn't realize, your ultimate goal was to chain smoke 2 packs a day in the attached garage. I thought we were trying to sell your home here. So, if your goals have changed, that's totally fine. You can continue to chain smoke in the garage. I just want to reset our expectations on what we can expect for offers here. So be open to feedback, guys. Just know that your decisions are going to impact the outcomes of your home sale. And stop smoking cigarettes before you have people in the house for private tours. Not a secret that people don't like that anymore. Beyond that, just keep the home smelling fresh, crack the windows, get diffusers, pretty easy. The next thing I want to talk about is the sellers doing pre-inspections. I cannot believe how few homeowners actually do this for themselves, considering how much leverage they're giving away by not doing it, and also how much potential confidence they could be creating in the eyes of the buyer if they do get this done, take care of a couple of repairs, and disclose everything else. We have clients that say they don't want to be renegotiated with through the inspection period, then they won't do a pre-inspection, and they'll be shocked when the buyer comes to them and asks them to credit them out of the proceeds for 3 or 4 repairs that need to be made out of the 1,000 potential repairs that came up in the home inspection report. A buyer client of mine just got $50,000 knocked off their purchase price or their last offer price for a property that they had offered on a week prior. All because the seller chose not to do a pre-listing inspection. They didn't know what was going on in their home, and they didn't have any more leverage to say that, hey, we are going to go back on the market and take a chance that another buyer is not going to find these things. They know that these things are going to come up at the next inspection. So they decided to work with our buyer client. And in this case, our buyers happened to be, taking that savings for the home and actually doing these repairs with the money that they saved on the purchase price of the home. But there's no telling another buyer out there wouldn't ask for this price reduction and then do the absolute bare minimum once they moved into the property, and then spend the rest of the money taking their family to Europe for the entire summer. This is not a small amount of money to reduce the purchase price of your home by, just because you decided against doing a $700 pre-listing inspection. So do not put yourself in this position as a homeowner. You are just donating all of your leverage. If you are, the fact that we cannot even waive home inspections here in Massachusetts is another reason that you should be doing this in this state. And if buyers don't see their questions answered, they don't have, the answers to information that they're requesting about the property, they see this as the seller hiding something, and they should look at it that way. So if you don't do the pre-listing inspection, if you don't repair things that need to get repaired, provide receipts if necessary, let them know when these upgrades were done, and just disclose the upgrades that haven't been done, you're just donating your leverage to the buyers out there. And there's nothing telling you that the next buyer isn't going to run into these same things at their home inspection. So answer the questions ahead of time, do a pre-listing inspection, don't give away your leverage, and watch more confident offers come in on your property. Now let's get into the property's presentation. You want to fix those little things that the buyers can actually see. I'm talking about loose doorknobs, dripping faucets, missing outlet covers, sticky doors, broken window seals. Buyers subconsciously assume that if visible maintenance was ignored, there is a great chance that the hidden maintenance was also ignored. Professional photography should not even be a question at this point. This is the absolute bare minimum that any real estate agent should be providing. But I can see with this flow, this continuous flow of discount agents providing discounted photography to their clients, that this is something that I'm going to have to continue to mention in every single listing video that I do. So please stop hiring these hacks. They are costing you more money than they are saving you with their discounted commission. Depending on your time, your situation, and your ability, you can get as crazy as you're comfortable with doing repairs or improvements to the presentation of your property. Check out the video I did on what to repair and what not to, but talk it through with your listing agent. Make sure it's someone that's going to be honest with you, tell you the truth, be that brutally honest agent, and let you know what's actually going to give you a return on investment. One of the things that some of our clients have loved leveraging is our brokerage actually enables them to take a no interest loan up to $25,000. They can use it to prep the property however they want, and the balance is just paid out of the closing proceeds. It's a super quick and easy way to get them some additional resources they need to get the property in a condition that they want to be able to show it in. Since you're just going to be selling the home here, it might not make sense to have a professional interior designer walk through and redesign the entire space for you, but it might be worth talking to a home stager if you're open to it, have them give you some ideas and some estimates on what it might cost to get some great modern furniture in there that doesn't overwhelm the space. A lot of homes right now, a lot of people are just living comfortably in their homes. They have massive couches, massive beds, massive bureaus, all of these furnishings that take up a lot of space. And stagers can actually come in, and if it's going to be a fit for the seller's situation, obviously swap out some of that massive furniture with some less overwhelming furniture for the space that still complements the home's character and gives buyers a great understanding of what the potential of the space is. If home staging is not actually possible due to the seller situation, we love incorporating some virtual staging shots. Most of the sellers we deal with are not interior designers themselves. So we're able to come up with some virtual renderings that give buyers a great sense of what the space could be if they were to, bring their own furniture in there, or give them some design ideas themselves for when they actually buy the place. Maybe they'll get some furniture that's similar to these virtual renderings. We've even done virtual renovation shots where we can show people what a renovated kitchen might look like. We've had buyers actually take these renderings, hand them to a contractor after they close on the property, and actually have the work done that was rendered in these photos. So there's a number of options to present the potential in a space and not have to do all of these renovations yourself as the homeowner. The same thing could be done for curb appeal, a clean exterior with, some fresh, clean, edged garden beds, some seasonal planting, shrubs. It can be a great way to make the home look move-in ready and make buyers fall in love with it immediately. If you don't have the ability to take care of, some of those landscaping ideas, we can do the same thing with the virtual renderings there as well. Show people what the potential in the interior and the exterior of the space is. And they're a great way to, create some ideas for not just the current homeowners, but also the future buyers that are going to be moving in. We've had sellers do the same thing with these renderings. They'll take our rendering of a new landscape or a freshly landscaped outdoor space or front yard, hand it off to a landscape installer, have the plants planted, and then they're ready for photography and to go on the market, and it hasn't cost them an arm and a leg. So another potential option for you to present the space a little bit more effectively. Guys, if you are looking for a real estate agent or a team in the greater Boston area to get you strong, confident offers on your home, please feel free to reach out to us. Give us a call or reach out at the link in the description. We are the Rivers Group at Compass Real Estate. We work with buyers and sellers all over the greater Boston area and on the South Shore. And we love being a resource for people, even if it's just a conversation where they can learn a little bit more about how to effectively position their home on the market when they do decide to sell. We also have a network of agents that we stay connected to inside and outside of Massachusetts, so we can always help our clients who are moving in and out of state. I just made an introduction this morning to one of my favorite agents down in Nashville, Tennessee, who I've been working with for years. We had a buyer reach out who had watched one of our YouTube videos and he was looking to be connected to an agent. I made that intro this morning, and he's going to be in great hands and get his hands on his first home. So if you're looking for an agent in your market, feel free to reach out to us and we'll do everything that we can to connect you to the right agent for you. And with that said, hopefully this video gave you a great idea of how to elicit the best, strongest offers for your home. Make sure you do not sit stagnant on the market, and give you a better understanding of why some homes are selling quickly and others are sitting on the market. But thank you guys so much for your time watching this video. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.